Chances are you've heard of alkaline water and the multitude of health benefits that have been attributed to it. But which of these claims are true and which of these claims are myths? In this video, I'm going to get down to the bottom line on alkaline water, water ionizers, and your health. But before we get started, I would love to know where you stand on the issue. Let me know, are you for or against alkaline water? The first claim that you've probably heard is that alkaline water is miracle water. Where did this term come from in the first place? Because it sounds like a cheesy marketing line. So the Japanese are actually the ones who developed the water ionizer technology back in 1968. So they've had this technology for quite a while. So during the 70s and 80s, they were using water ionizers very commonly in Japanese hospitals, both topically and systemically. So people drinking the water, but also using the water topically for things like infections and bed sores. So it was actually the Japanese news reporters who coined the term miracle water after having read all of these different reports about the benefits of these water ionizer machines in hospitals. Another problem with this claim is that it ignores the fact that the benefits of ionized water that were specifically seen in these Japanese hospitals were both from the acidic water and the alkaline water. So it wasn't just the alkaline water that was giving all this benefit, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the video. The second claim that I want to address is that it's healthier to be alkaline than to be acidic. So one of the biggest problems with the claims about alkaline water is that they're just too general. So looking at this claim about alkaline being healthier than being acidic, it ignores a couple of very important facts. So first of all, each different area and fluid in your body has a different ideal pH. So there's certain areas of your body, like the stomach and the skin, which are actually ideally supposed to be acidic. So in the case of your stomach, we're talking about a pH between 1 and 3. This is like incredibly acidic, on par with battery acid. But that's how important it is for our stomach to be able to digest the food and then, of course, neutralize all the bacteria that come in through the things that we eat. And the second thing to understand is that the true goal for optimal health is to have pH balance. So really to be neither too alkaline or too acidic. And it's very easy to find the symptoms of alkalosis and the symptoms of acidosis so that you can actually determine whether your body is too alkaline or too acidic, rather than just assuming that all of us are too acidic and all of us need to be more alkaline. Claim number 3 is that you can change your body's pH by drinking alkaline water or eating an alkaline diet. Okay, so this claim isn't completely a myth, okay? Because it is true that the way that we eat, the way that we live, the quality of the water we drink, these are all different factors that influence our body's ability to maintain and balance its pH. But where this claim is kind of a myth, okay, or is kind of a misunderstanding, is that you can't adjust your body's pH like a lever, okay? And the reason is that your body has hundreds, if not thousands of mechanisms working 24 hours a day to maintain and balance the pH in the different parts of your body. All right, so we could look at the blood as an example. The blood has a very small window of approximately 7.35 to 7.4. So the water you drink, your diet, this is a huge factor in your overall health, but you can't just drink alkaline water to balance the effects of a really bad diet. The fourth claim is that the primary benefit of ionized water is the high pH or alkalinity of the water. And what is kind of wrong with this claim is that it ignores the fact that the pH value of the water is only part of the benefit that we get from a water ionizer. So the water ionizer that I use at home is by this Air Water Life company. And one of the things I found very interesting is that when I started, a conversation with this company, and I was actually very, very skeptical of alkaline water, and I was very hesitant to, get a water ionizer at my house. And what they actually told me is that the pH of the water is just only part of the benefit. And the real health benefit that comes from ionized water is actually the antioxidant value. So if you remember from my video on antioxidants, I talked about free radical damage. So basically, free radicals are going to result from all of the different metabolic processes that our body is doing throughout the day. And when we think about things like breaking down junk foods, breaking down processed sugar, these are metabolic processes that result in even more free radicals. Things like cigarette smoking, this is another source of these highly reactive free radicals. So you can kind of think of it like a really destructive kid or a really destructive person. So these free radicals are flowing through your bloodstream, and they actually will attach on to healthy tissues in the body and try to steal energy from those healthy tissues so that they can be less reactive, so that they can be neutralized. And what this does is it causes lots of damage to the healthy tissues in your body. Okay, and this is one of the theories behind aging and degeneration, that this free radical damage builds up as we age. So, enter antioxidants. Now, antioxidants are what they call electron donors. And because they have an extra electron that they can give away to another molecule, they'll actually neutralize these free radicals so that the free radicals are no longer harmful. This is why we want to have antioxidants in our diet. This is also why you can think of antioxidants as being anti-aging. Right? They help to combat the aging and degenerative processes by neutralizing free radicals. So when we run water through a water ionizer and it is alkalized or its pH is increased, the pH is increased by adding hydrogen ions to the water. And this active hydrogen is what helps to neutralize free radicals. So from a glass of water with a pH between 7.5 and 8.5, you can actually have as much antioxidant activity as a cup of green tea. So when we look at the different instances where alkaline water has been especially helpful in helping people to heal from different illnesses and improve their health, it's actually this incredibly high antioxidant activity of the water that provides much of the benefit. And the pH level of the water is just kind of another aspect of it. So what I really want you to get in this, in looking at this claim, is that the alkalinity is one potential aspect of the water, okay, and the antioxidant absorption capacity, or the ability of that water to neutralize free radicals, is actually a separate part and really where the main benefit of the water comes from. And this brings us to the fifth claim, which is that you can do pH testing on your saliva or on your urine to determine if you're too alkaline or if you're too acidic. So I talked a little earlier about the fact that each different liquid in your body has a different ideal pH. So that's the first reason that this claim is really somewhat of a myth. All right, because looking at your salivary pH or the pH of your urine is not going to be an accurate reflector of the pH of your blood. And again, your blood pH stays in a pretty narrow window, and your body is working really hard to keep it in that window. The second part of this claim that really makes it somewhat of a myth is that your saliva and your urine are really two of the primary things that your body uses to help regulate your pH. So for instance, if you were to take the pH of your urine and find that it was very, very acidic, this would actually be an indication that your body is far more alkaline, right? Because your body uses the urine to flush out all the additional acid so that it can maintain and balance your pH. And when we're looking at the mouth, when we're looking at your saliva, well, the pH in your mouth, okay, is actually going to change all throughout the day. If you've just eaten something acidic, if you've just eaten junk food, your mouth will be very acidic. If you've just brushed your teeth, your mouth will be more alkaline than if you've just eaten something. And interestingly enough, the pH of your saliva is changing as you eat and as your body prepares for digestion. So actually just thinking about a certain food can change the pH of your saliva. So that's another reason why looking at your salivary pH is really not going to be an accurate reflection of what the pH inside your body is. So now let's get down to the bottom line. Let's take a look at the big picture of what all of these different claims mean for our health. One of the most common things that I see in my health coaching practice is that people really have an inclination towards extremes. So there's a lot of extreme diets out there and extreme workout programs. And I think it's really just part of our human nature that we want to have a black and white view on things, like things are all bad or all good, when realistically, in real life, things are on a spectrum, right? So a couple kind of key points that I want to give you that I think will help you, not just in this alkaline debate, but in your overall health overall, is that just because something is good and beneficial doesn't necessarily mean that it's right for everyone. And just because something works for one person doesn't guarantee that it's going to work for someone else. And conversely, just because something isn't necessarily good for a certain person or a certain condition doesn't mean that thing is completely bad. Another part of this extreme kind of inclination that is maybe just part of our human nature is that we see things like the alkaline diets, right? Or people who would recommend that someone drink only extremely high alkaline water all the time. So a big part of my philosophy as a health coach, a part of my health philosophy is an idea of balance and trying to avoid extremes. So what does that mean? That means that while an alkaline forming diet can certainly have its benefits, I think it's a bit too extreme to advise that people eat only alkaline forming foods. Because there are actually some very healthy foods which are technically acid forming. So, of course, the main acid forming foods we think about are things like junk foods, refined sugar. It's probably up there on one of the absolute most acidic things. Things like caffeine and soda. These are all acid forming. But then also there are several nuts and legumes and fats and oils, what I consider healthy fats and oils, which are technically acid forming. So in my philosophy of balance, I would recommend that you still have some of these acid forming foods in your diet, and that the idea of not eating healthy foods simply because they're acid forming kind of ignores the overall picture, which is that you want balance in your health and you want to give your body the nutrients that it needs. So when you consider your health, understand that pH is just a part of the picture, and that largely your body is working 24 hours a day to help maintain and regulate your pH. So you want to see health as consideration on a lot more than just the pH level of the foods. There's considerations like the nutrients that we get. What condition is our body in? What does our body need? And not to base our entire health approach around this one aspect that is pH. So what I found, actually one of the most interesting things that I found in doing the research for this video, is that the alkaline water, right, the high alkaline water that is really what most people think about as the primary benefit of a water ionizer, ignores the fact that actually a great deal of the uses and benefits of ionized water come from the acidic water, okay, the low pH water. So the doctors in Japan who are using water ionizers in their practice or in their hospital, they were using this acidic water topically on the skin is one use. So for instance, there was a doctor who was working with patients that were scheduled for amputation of a limb due to diabetes. And he began soaking that limb in acidic water in conjunction with having the person drink the higher alkaline water. And they were actually able to preserve those limbs so that they no longer needed amputation. The acidic water could also be used topically for things like burns, infections. It could be used on things such as bed sores that people would get from laying in their hospital bed for too long. And the extremely acidic water is actually used for sanitizing the medical equipment. And even in the United States, there are different doctors' offices and specifically dentist offices who use this low pH or acidic water to sanitize their various medical tools. Because acids kill pathogens. Acids kill bacteria. So this is one reason why our skin is actually slightly acidic. Because remember, your skin is actually part of your immune system. In a big way, it has many immune system functions. And so that slight acidity of the skin is how our skin protects us from bacteria and pathogens. So we can use something like an ionizer to add this active hydrogen or antioxidants to the water and to increase the pH. But you'll also find naturally occurring alkaline water in things like mountain spring water. And it's because of the presence of minerals that help to alkalize the water, or that actually increase its pH. So what I have here is an example of a spring water. So a water like this, okay, that is actually gaining its minerals from the different rocks that mountain valley spring water, or whatever it is, mountain water, spring water, as it flows over the rocks, it absorbs the minerals from those rocks, and that is what alkalizes the water. So another reason that we hear about alkaline water being so healthful is actually the mineral content of the water. So if you want to get the minerals from the water, you have to find something like this that is a mountain water or spring water. There are several different brands out there, okay, that are bottling waters like this. And ideally, unless you actually live by a mountain spring and you can go get this water yourself, you want to purchase this water in glass bottles, okay? So this is a great example of one that comes in a glass bottle here. And then know, right, that when we hear about adding things like lemon to our water to alkalize it, it's the minerals in the lemon that provide this effect. So lemon is one of the most alkaline forming foods because it's very high in calcium, which is one of the most alkaline minerals that there is, right? And again, this is why our body will pull calcium from our bones if we're too acidic, right? Because calcium is a very, very alkaline mineral. So again, when we talk about our health as a holistic idea and seeing the big picture, just know that you have to have an adequate amount of minerals in your diet in order to be healthy. One other consideration while we're on the topic of water is what you drink your water out of. All right, so chances are you have heard of bisphenol A. Now, bisphenol A is a chemical used in plastics, and primarily in plastic water bottles, but it's also found in things like the lining of cans, and lots of other places. Right? So when we are taking water with us on the go, the ideal scene is that you use something in glass or something that is a BPA-free plastic. So this water bottle here is something that came with my water ionizer. All right. And so not only is this BPA-free plastic, but it also retains the antioxidant value, or what they call the negative ORP, or oxygen radical absorption potential, something like that, right? The antioxidant potential is how to think of it. So this water bottle is actually designed to retain those benefits, all right? And it's free of that bisphenol A, which is really one of the worst chemicals in plastic. Well, second to something like that, understand that glass is going to be probably one of the best options for you for the water that you take on the go. So what I have here are a couple of reusable glass bottles. These are by a brand called Faucet Face. And what I love not only is that these have a wonderful screw-on cap, which ensures that you're not going to be spilling water all over your bag, which is excellent. I've definitely used some glass bottles where that is a problem. But this company also donates water and donates funds to really good causes. So I love it. They're creating a product that's very healthful, but then they're also super conscious of trying to help the world around them, right? And helping bring water to places where that's an issue. And then again, I talked earlier about the mineral water in a glass bottle. Again, a great option. So the guidelines to remember, right? Filter your tap water if you can. If you have access to mountain water or spring water, that's great, but it can get really expensive. All right. Understandably, if that's something that you're buying all the time. So I love my Aqua Ionizer Deluxe. I love that I have the option of a lot of different pH levels and that it's a very high quality water filter. And it also came with a fluoride filter. So what I have at home is an Aqua Ionizer Deluxe. And what I love about this machine is that it gives me a variety of different pH levels to choose from. So let's look first at this acidic water. And again, remembering that acidic water has antibacterial benefits. So on the cosmetic setting, which is approximately 6.0 to 7.0 pH, this water has, again, the antibacterial properties. It is great for the skin, again, because the skin is supposed to be slightly acidic. So I actually use a little spritzer of acidic water as a hand sanitizer, and it's awesome. So no alcohol, nothing that's going to dry my skin out. Because the slightly acidic water is pH balancing, it's not going to dry your skin. You can also use it as a rinse on your hair. It's very good for your hair. This cosmetic water, because it's pH balancing, you can also spray this on your face to use it as a toner. So I love that they have given me the two different options. I can then go even more acidic. Okay, this is the cleaning option, and this is going to be approximately 5.0 to 6.0 pH. And at this pH, it becomes a very effective disinfectant. So it can be used to clean surfaces. It's going to be very effective, and it's going to be completely chemical free. So I'm someone who's very, very much into natural cleaning and cleaning without harsh toxic chemicals. So I love that I can just use this acid water setting of my ionizer to create a completely toxic-free disinfectant that I can use to, you can spray it in your shoes to disinfect and deodorize. You can spray it in the washer and dryer. Been using this for a lot of different purposes. I love it. And I actually didn't know that acid water had those benefits. So that was something I was very, very excited to find out about. So moving slightly back up the pH scale, there's also a purified water setting. So it's really, really important that we use some kind of water filter in our home, especially if you're drinking the municipal water in whatever city you live in. Oftentimes they may add things like chlorine, the purpose being to clean the water, or even things like fluoride, or more specifically, hydrofluorosilicic acid. And these are things that ideally we want to be able to filter out of our water. So this Aqua Ionizer Deluxe is an excellent water filter. Okay, it has an active carbon filter to filter the water. And so if I just want something that's a neutral pH, or at the same pH of the tap water, I can just use this purified water setting, and it won't ionize the water at all. So one important thing to know is that you don't want to drink alkaline water within an hour of eating, before or after. Because remember that the stomach should be acidic when we eat, right? We want the stomach to be very acidic. This is how it breaks up food. So an hour before, an hour after eating, you want to just use the purified water setting. All right. And so I love that I have the opportunity to choose whether I want to drink alkaline water at all. As we continue up the pH scale, we then have two different settings for alkaline drinking water. So there's the initial setting, and they recommend that you stay at the initial value, which is just slightly alkaline, for approximately 2 weeks before you move up to the daily drinking level. Now, even at the daily drinking level, we're only at a pH of approximately 8.5 to 9.5. And actually, in the manual, they recommend that you can just drink 2 glasses of this water per day in order to get a lot of antioxidant benefit. So this kind of harkens back to one of those myths we were talking about earlier, which is that you should drink really high alkaline water all the time. And even a company like Air Water Life that sells this ionizer, even for them, they're not trying to say that that's a good idea, right? And they're very specific about making sure you know not to drink the alkaline water when you're within a meal time. So just understand that a system like this that gives you a lot of options in terms of the pH value of the water you're going to get is very beneficial. As we continue up the pH scale, we have 2 even higher alkaline settings. Now, these ones are not necessarily for drinking straight up. Okay, so the first one is a high pH that's great for tea and coffee. So because coffee is very acidic, using alkaline water to brew it is going to help neutralize a lot of that bitterness and helps to extract even more flavor. This even higher level of alkaline water, it can be used for cooking. And when it is used for cooking, it also helps to pull even more of the nutrients and flavors out of the food. Going up to our highest alkaline water setting, this is the setting that says cooking. So this is to be used when you are making vegetables, rice, pasta, etc. This high alkaline water is again going to extract more flavor and even more nutrients. And because alkaline water is going to have, what would be the word? An oil, I guess it's not absorbing, but can be very effective for breaking up oils. So if you have a greasy residue on a stovetop or something like that, you can use this incredibly high alkaline water to break that oil up and help to remove that greasy residue, or even a greasy stain from your clothing.